Glad to have you join us again on the program NIMASA This Week. I start off by saying that it's good news because relief is on the way for vessels operating in the Gulf of Guinea who are facing challenges because globally stakeholders are coming together to work out some new modalities to make life less difficult for them. We'll be sharing with you today on the program that and other things, including a session with diplomats that the DG NIMASA leading the management team had, and it's all about shipping development. Very crucial. And then last week we started, but we'll continue today and completed the trip to the Federal Ministry of Transportation to brief the newly appointed Permanent Secretary about the activities of NIMASA. The DG led the team on that visit. These and many more we'll be sharing with you on the program NIMASA This Week. All right, let's start off from where we left off last week. We had shared with you that the DG NIMASA, leading his management team, had paid a visit to the Federal Ministry of Transportation. There, they briefed the Permanent Secretary, the newly appointed Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, about the activities of NIMASA. Now, the various heads of the different agencies in that ministry had been doing briefings. Last week was the turn of NIMASA. By the time the DG NIMASA was done speaking, the Permanent Secretary did agree that NIMASA was indeed in good hands.
What is our mission? Is to achieve and sustain safe, secure shipping, cleaner ocean, and advance and enhance maritime capacity in line with the global best practices towards Nigeria's economic development.
The DG of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, informed the Permanent Secretary of the basics of the tripartite agenda of maritime security, maritime safety, and shipping development of the present management of the agency.
IMD report of the third quarter shows that we are still #1 in terms of insecurity. That informs us to take the issue of maritime security headlong as our first goal and objectives, what we want to achieve in our own 3-point agenda. The issue of safety does not stop or revolve only here. When we say safety here, we look at the concept of human element, human life, accident at sea and other things like that, before even to the producing or manufacturing these ships. So the first thing we did is to ensure that our global maritime distress system, known as GMDSS, is put in place. We have been on this for quite a number of years, but with our coming in, we have already achieved the PIAT. We have 3 basic centers for the GMDSS. One at the Maritime Resource Center, which we call it Regional Maritime Coordinating Center, with the equipment at Tapa Bay in Lagos. We have the second one at Oro. We have the third one at Escravos. The maritime industry is dominated by foreign shipping lines, with many local companies shutting down their own operations in recent years. Although efforts have been made in the past to develop a national shipping career to help provide employment opportunities, nevertheless, due to inadequate funding and poor resources management, the sector continues to decline. There is a pressing need for a reform. I made mention what we are doing in terms of, inaugurating committee to go around and see the performance of the shipbuilding industry, why they are performing low, what we can be able to provide for them to develop and excel.
Speaking further, Dr. Jamo asserted that NIMASA is operating a system that encourages reduced costs of operation, increased efficiency and productivity of staff. He also noted that the Deep Blue project to enhance security in the Nigerian maritime domain will soon become fully operational. After listening to the presentation by the NIMASA DG, Dr. Ajani acknowledged the in-depth industry knowledge of Dr. Jamo, with an assurance that the supervising ministry will operate on the same page with the management of NIMASA.
The other thing I'm quite excited about is the Maritime Intelligence Agency, because definitely it's the approach you are using now that will solve most of the problem in the creeks. Because once they understand where you are coming from, you are also able to understand why they are doing what they are doing. Then you can now do the change management for us to be able to achieve positively what needs to be achieved there, and also give life to them. That will solve a lot of problems. They become our insiders for information to be able to manage the security challenge. The agitation will also stop because you will empower them and change their mindset from the wrong thoughts. Because most of our problems are based on wrong assumptions. And a lot of us take up arms for something that we really do not know. But somebody has polluted our thought life to say that this is what government is trying to do. Yeah. Meanwhile, it is exactly opposite to that. So I really commend you and I say thank you.
The Nigerian Government and Industry Working Group, NIWG, is working to finalize a new Nigerian National Maritime Reporting Framework to support merchant vessels in distress. The joint working group comprised NIMASA, Ministry of Transport, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Ports Authority, Marine Police Interpol, and the oil industry. The oil industry is represented by Oil Companies International Marine Forum, OCIMF. The shipping industry is represented by International Chamber of Shipping (ICS), Baltic and International Maritime Council (BIMCO), International Association of Dry Cargo Ship Owners (Intercargo), International Association of Independent Tank Owners (Intertanko), and the Nigerian Ship Owners Association. They were established in May 2020 to facilitate coordination between government and industry and align efforts to deter and respond to incidents of piracy and armed robbery in Nigerian territorial waters and exclusive economic zone. The NIMASA Industry Working Group (NIWG) was the first coordinated effort between the industry and the Nigerian government. The objective of the working group is to accelerate efforts to tackle maritime security threats by facilitating interaction between the stakeholders and pursuing projects through mutual collaboration. The NIMASA Command Control Computer Communication and Information C4I Center has been identified as a national focal point for coordinating the multi-agency response. These developments are a significant step forward in improving Nigeria's response capabilities and potentially enhancing security for vessels operating on Nigerian waters. At a regulatory level, NIMASA was working directly with the International Maritime Organization (IMO) in developing a national maritime security strategy. Following the entry into force of Nigeria's Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act of 2019 (SPOMO Act), prosecutions are underway. The Nigerian Navy's maritime security response activities, the conduct of two military exercises, Operation Calm Water and Operation Sangasong by the Nigerian Navy in recent months, had been successful in testing and demonstrating response capabilities. Importantly, considerable progress has also been made to advance the Integrated National Security and Waterways Protection Infrastructure Project, otherwise known as the Deep Blue Project. This is aimed at comprehensively addressing insecurity and criminality on Nigeria's territorial waters and exclusive economic zone. While COVID-19 has caused disruptions to this landmark project, delayed training required to deploy Deep Blue Project assets has recommenced. It is agreed by the National Working Group that progressing the Deep Blue Project is a key priority which will require continued support by industry and sustained resource from the Nigerian government.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
The diplomatic ties between Belgium and Nigeria seem to be heading the right direction, because shipping development formed the crux of the matter when the envoy of Belgium paid a visit to the NIMASA headquarters. The ambassador-designate of the Belgian Republic, His Excellency Daniel Bertrand, who led his team to NIMASA, assured NIMASA's management of the fact that capacity building and development in the area of shipbuilding will definitely be of keen interest and support to the Belgian Republic.
Antwerp is a major international port, the gateway to Europe, ranking 14th in the 20 largest container ports in the world. No other seaport is located so far inland in Europe as the port of Antwerp. Antwerp is known around the world for the high productivity of its container handling, with 40 moves per crane per hour. So when the ambassador-designate of Belgium to Nigeria, His Excellency Daniel Bertrand, met with the management of NIMASA, partnership for shipping development was the focus of their discussion. NIMASA DG Dr. Bashir Jamo assured the envoy of improved safety of investment in the Nigerian maritime sector.
The Nigerian government places priority on the issue of maritime insecurity, and we have been seeing a number of new trends of this insecurity. The Belgian authority from time to time do experience similar challenges, and today is a story or history. Nigeria, we are just battling with that, and we are making our own efforts. With a timeline by mid of next year, we want to start recording zero tolerance of maritime insecurity in our own water domain. The International Maritime Organization, they have been with us, giving us all the necessary support and cooperation to ensure that we achieve that clearance. The Nigerian government invests heavily in providing assets towards the reactive measures of tackling this menace.
On his part, Ambassador Bertrand assured of absolute cooperation of his home country for capacity development initiatives from NIMASA.
One of my priorities here in Nigeria countries. There is a huge potential in Nigeria, the first economy in Africa, demography in Africa.
From Belgium, let's move over to Asia. Destination, South Korea. The new Consul General of the South Korean Embassy in Nigeria, His Excellency Kang Hang-gu, was on a working visit to the NIMASA headquarters. There, he gave the management of NIMASA some assurance that they're going to be cooperating to ensure that the trade between both countries would increase even more.
Just after the exchange of pleasantries, the diplomats settled down to business, and the new Consul General of the Korean Embassy in Nigeria, His Excellency Kang Hang-gu, told the NIMASA management that his first visit to the agency on assumption of duties in Nigeria was to assure NIMASA of their preparedness to collaborate for the benefit of both countries.
In the last 2 weeks, there are 3 times attempted attacks on fishing boats off the coast of Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. So under these situations, the close cooperation between the NIMASA and our office is very crucial.
While responding to the presentation by the Consul General, the NIMASA DG, Dr. Bashir Jamo, who is a graduate of the Korea Maritime and Ocean University, reiterated the commitment of the agency to collaboration to grow capacity and improve security in the Nigerian maritime domain.
And we are working with the International Maritime Organization to see how we are going to build national maritime security strategy so that we can gather all these pieces and see how we can work harmoniously with other agencies with one voice. In so doing, we also want to create the National Maritime Strategy Committee, where all the agencies that are aligned with the responsibility of ensuring security in our own territorial water will be with us, deliberate, agree and disagree on a daily basis, and strategize on how collectively we can deal with this issue.
Do you know who a seafarer is? Seafarers are the people who make the world go round.
I am Titus Elowa, Nautical Science, University of Cebu, Philippines. Rounding up my training on board Cape Felton, currently in Russia Vostochny.
I am Theodora Yara Kanepang. I'm on board Cape Nabil doing my 1-year apprenticeship, which is more or less cadetship.
Seafarers are people who have been employed to work on the ships. They ensure smooth sailing of the ship while making sure that goods and services get to us from every part of the world. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, this set of people are still working for the benefit of everyone. Seafarers are key workers. Let us celebrate these special people as they are the people who truly make the world go round. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA.
My name is Rajo Ahmad. I am from Bauchi State, in the northern Nigeria. I'm a graduate of NSDP. Right now, I'm a licensed second officer or limited from the Philippines government. I want to use this medium to show my gratitude and appreciation to the management of NIMASA and the NSDP department for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Without them, I actually couldn't have started this program.
You're watching NIMASA This Week, and we say thank you very much for being a part of the program. Now, time for us to have a chat with a maritime expert who will be talking to us about the first conviction Nigeria has gotten under the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences SPOMO Act 2019. I'm talking about Barrister Emeka Akabogo, and we asked him the significance of this judgment to Nigeria.
The conviction practicalizes the very essence of the SPOMO Act in the first place, which is to ensure that offenders, as far as piracy and other maritime offences are concerned, are brought to book and face consequences for their actions. Recall that the mischief which this act was meant to deal with is one where pirates could essentially reign free, because even if you do catch them, there is no basis legally for prosecuting them, whether they are within Nigerian waters or whether they are outside Nigerian waters. And this was something which impacted not just Nigeria, but the West and Central African region. So what has happened by the SPOMO Act and now this conviction is that there is not only an important first of its kind legislation within the region, but more importantly, it is a legislation which can bite. So I think that there's a lot for Nigeria to be proud of, and a lot for Nigeria really to actually work on to consolidate on this. You need physical spaces for people to be jailed. You need to have the full cooperation of the countries where you have situations that the pirates are not Nigerians. So you need a framework under the legislation of all countries which ensures seamlessness in the fight against piracy. Otherwise, you may have Nigeria just working alone. Yes, under the SPOMO Act, it is not only Nigerians that could be prosecuted, but you need a framework which ensures that the neighboring countries are able to fully cooperate on the terms of their laws in all circumstances, end to end. And it's important that increased advocacy should go on a regional and multilateral basis to eventually get the cooperation of all countries as far as enacting relevant legislation is concerned. Having a rule is one thing, but enforcing that rule is another. So that's why it's important that this initial conviction which has happened, because it shows that not only is there an adequate legislation, but that the authorities have the confidence and the will to implement it. So, as I say, at the end of the day, enforcement, active enforcement, driven by availability of the relevant assets and regularity and consistency in the deployment of these assets, is more important than the very existence on paper of the law. And that's what essentially will eventually drive deterrence. Implementation of these projects will require that there is adequate funding, and that the funding which is provided is properly utilized, because you will have suboptimal outcomes if the funding is not effectively deployed or if the funding is not seen to be adequate. Once either of these two happens, the Operation C4I and the Falcon Eye will become paper tigers. What actualizes a hub really are these activities which ensure safety, security for those interests who you want. These people and these organizations will naturally gravitate to the environment which is deemed to be safe. So that's one of the immediate positives which would come from such a deployment and such efficacy in those operations. In addition, the complaints which we've had over the years about the risk profile of Nigeria will be taken care of, because at the end of the day, the international community makes its decisions based on the risk profiles which are given to different countries. The Nigerian risk profile will be better, and it would attract more cargo to the country at lower rates. And at the end of the day, all this are for the positive, for more positive impacts on the economy.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
Thank you so much for being a part of the program today. But before we go, let's quickly congratulate Nigerians on the commissioning of the dry seaport in Onitsha. It was quite exciting, and the DG NIMASA had this to say on his Twitter handle. Congratulations, my brother, the CEO NIWA, Dr. George Mogalu, on the deserved milestone of commissioning Onitsha dry seaport. Kudos also to the maritime industry CEOs steering committee meetings for supporting this realization. This is proof that collaboration works. Hashtag all hands on deck. So once again, congratulations to all of us, and we're looking forward to having more. You could follow the DG NIMASA on Twitter. He's at Jamo Bashir. It's quite interactive. You could ask him questions. And if you need to know more about the maritime sector, you could follow NIMASA on all her social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They are all at NIMASA Official. At NIMASA Official. You could also visit the NIMASA website. My name is Cordelia Ogbe. I'll be back next week, all the things being equal. Till then, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android, Intelsat 901 degree east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.